Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Oaklawn Park here on Saturday. It is the 9th of December 2023. Gonna look at the stakes action from Oaklawn, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it, around the world. Let's look at the stakes action from Oaklawn here on the Saturday afternoon. Race is 6 and race 9. Let's get to it right now. The sixth race from Oaklawn, it is the Ring the Bell Stakes. It's going for a purse of $150,000. Race for 3-year-olds and upwards here. We have a field of 9 horses heading to post. The distance of ground of 1,200 meters, or the distance of ground of 6 furlongs on the Oaklawn main track. Gonna take the 6-horse Tejano Twist as a top selection. I'm gonna go 6-5-7-3 in the superfecta. 6-5-7-3 super, top selection 6-horse Tejano Twist. This 4-year-old gelding by Practical Joke. Chris Hartman trains. Chris Landeros gets the mount. The horse's most recent appearance came the 4th of November at Churchill. 6 furlongs in the in the Bed of Sunshine Stakes, and the horse won by 1/4 lengths that day and ran a co-career best 101 buyer that day. He was stalking that day. He closed up from nowhere and he ran his heart out. I thought that was an impressive run. Refreshing here, not the world's toughest race. Should see a good pace in front of him to close with. I expect him to run a good race and get the winner's circle check again today. He likes this track, which I think is a good thing. 2 back in the Kelly's Landing at Ellis, 6.5 1st of July. He finished 4th by 3/4 length that day, and he just kind of stalked that day. He never had the turn of foot. He was just a little lackadaisical. It wasn't his day to win. And the Arcidides at Churchill, 6 furlongs on the 3rd of June. He finished 3rd by 4 3/4 lengths that day, and he just kind of hung mid-stretch. He had to close from a lot that day, and they didn't go so fast that day, which probably cost him the victory. And then, he ran a decent third behind Cody's Witch in the Churchill Down Stakes. But his races here last season weren't bad at all. Won a race here in allowance races back in January. Came back to run a massive place behind Goodnight and the King Cotton. Came back to win the Whitmore, closing from nowhere with a 101 buyer. And then the Count Fleet's Turf, in the Count Fleet Sprint Handicap, he finished 3rd by 3 3/4 lengths. Again, closing up from nowhere with the Lasix that day. He's getting no Lasix today. I believe last season was the last season without Lasix locally. So getting, with Lasix last year. I think this year with no Lasix is going to be good for the racing here. And I think this horse, he's proven he can handle no Lasix. Training well. I'm going to use him on the ticket. The 5-horse Necker Island could win also for Chris Hartman and Christian Torres. Another horse that comes from a little bit behind, but not as far behind as Tejano Twist. He's a horse that ran in the Derby in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Just not a mile and a quarter horse. He wants to sprint. He won the Mighty Bow at Ellis in June quite nicely, and then came back to some decent, places. He hasn't run that massive buyer in a little bit, but he runs these good mid-90 buyers that could definitely win here. At 8-1, I would use him on the ticket. He's been around the block and he always runs these good races here. But to recap my selections for the 6 from Oaklawn, it is Ring the Bell. Gonna take the 6-horse Tejano Twist. Give kudos to the 5-horse Necker Island. 6-5-7-3 super. 6-5 in the multi-race. I don't know if you could hear it in the background. My cat keeps wanting to jump on me while I do this video, and I keep pushing him away, so it's getting a little annoying. But now he's going to try and go on the desk and go out the other way. But the 9th race now from Oaklawn, it is the Mistletoe Stakes. It's going for a purse of $150,000. Race for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds, and upwards. We have a field of, a field of 11 horses in this year's Mistletoe, going the distance of ground at 1,600 meters, or the 1-mile trip here at Oaklawn, starting and ending at the 16th pole. I'm going to take the 7-horse Effortlessly Elegant. I'm going to go 7-4-2-10 in the superfecta. 7-4-2-10 super. Top selection 7-horse Effortlessly Elegant. If there's a horse ever named for me, it was this one. This 3-year-old filly by Liam's Map. Norm Cassie trains. Rafael Bejarano gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing off the bench came the 8th of November at Churchill. 6 furlongs and an optional 125 claimer, and he finished 4th by 5 1/4 lengths that day. And as a favorite, he didn't get out of the gate so clearly. He was flying on the front end, but then he just kind of hit the wall. I do think he needed the race. Refreshing here, not the world's toughest horses, back to a mile trip, which I think he's proven he could do good with. He's going to be in a better spot to find the winner's circle today. 2 back around the Grade 1 Ashland at Keeneland, mile 16th, 7th of April. She finished 5th by 4 1/4 lengths that day, and she was with them early on from Y Poster, then kind of crumbled. That was a very good Ashland. She just wasn't getting into it there. And then mid-March at Oaklawn, a mile 16th and optional 100, she won by a neck that day, closing up from mid-pack. I thought she ran a very good effort here. She's only lost once in this track. That came in the Honeybee, where I don't think she liked the kickback on the slop. She handled the slop the race before, but then in the the Honeybee, she was way out of it, and she just was, if you watch the replay, she was like, just not used to it. Put an X through that race. If they have a sloppy track today, I hope they run her like they ran her on the 29th of March, or excuse me, 29th of January. That came 6 furlongs in the Monday main specialway. She was on the front end that day and didn't get the slop, and she basically won for fun with winning by 4 3/4 lengths, circling the field. I thought that was a very good race. Refreshing here today at 12-1. She could definitely win on the ticket. I think the 4-horse could also win also. A lovely ride for Sean Williams, former Diotoro horse here. I believe he's suspended, but Christian Torres on this one. Hasn't been seen since the Ouija board on the turf at Lone Star back in May, where she just finished 5th by 5.5 lengths that day and just kind of hit the wall. Just not a turf horse. Her races here last season weren't bad at all. She actually won this race last year on the front end and came back to win the Pippin here in early January. And then after that, just kind of the form went backwards as the better horses started coming to town. But not the world's toughest race to start off the season here today. Trading well at Remington. I'll definitely give this horse a shot in the pick 4. But to recount my selection for the 9th now from Oaklawn, it is the Mistletoe. Gonna take the 7-horse Effortlessly Elegant. Give kudos to the 4-horse Lovely Ride. 7-4 210 Super. 7-4 in the multi race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, Reb.